How y'all doing? We're going to do another quick lesson here, and one of the lessons that teaching actually, I'm going to show y'all and teach y'all how God has inspired me to show y'all many secrets, maybe, if you believe it or not. One of them is a lot of us have asked the question of why do we look different? Why is our hair different? Why is our skin different? Why is there so many races? First of all, the term race was invented by Rome to distinguish between the colors of people. And we all know that the colors of people is based upon the amount of vitamin D and pigments. Now, we all know of Noah, right? Biblically, it says that all races came from Noah and his 3 sons. Noah, his 3 sons, and Noah's wife and their wives. I don't know their names, but they're in the Bible. So, this is the world. I have to show y'all on my chalkboard here. This is the world. And this is the sun. This is not actual size. So, this is the equator. This is the flat surface. The equator is the roundest, flattest portion to the sun. So, when Noah, after the world was destroyed and humanity restarted and all races came from the 4 men and women, they landed on Mount Ararat, which is about this close to the equator. So, and their mission was to spread among the earth and populate the earth. Okay? So when they started, their family, each 4 sons and 4 wives, they had kids, and as time went on, they went different directions. Some went north, some went south, east, west. So they spread around the whole earth. And let's say every 1,000 years, they got from here to here. Not all the family kept moving. Each family would go and have kids and settle. Some of their kids will go and settle. Some of their kids would go and settle. So all ethnic groups, all of the sons' family, some of their sons stayed in this portion here, where the sun is increased dramatically. So you have increased pigments and you have increased vitamin D. Vitamin D can change your bone structure. Vitamin D can change your bone density, facial structure, and increase your pigments. So one of the sons of Noah is responsible for the black races. And just here, just below and above the equator, you have all the brown races, which another son is responsible for. And here you have less sunlight. When you live on the equator, the sun rises directly above you. See? So when you're below the equator, the sun rises over here. So if you're above the equator, way up here, the sun actually rises way off to the side, so that the sun isn't directly hitting you. So, as they spread around the whole world, Noah and his sons, wherever their family would settle, depending on the location on the earth, that determined the amount of sunlight and pigments and vitamin D that they would get. So that was the birth of the white race, the brown race, the yellow, and of course the black race. So we're not all so different, are we? So let me just do a quick run through of what I said. As they started here, some families settled here. As generations went on, some here, some stayed, some went, some stayed, some went, and over time, their bodies changed to adapt to the sun and the sun, vitamin D pigments. So we all came from each other. Humans do evolve, but not in a sense like you think. We don't come from apes. Our bodies adapt. Adaptation versus evolution. There's no such thing as evolution. Only adaptation. We adapt to our environment. If Brandy here, who is, fair skinned, if she was to go to Africa, see, Brandy has fair skin, so she came from, her ancestors eventually came from a place that had less sun hitting it from the angle of the sun. See? These are sun rays. See how the sun rays hit flat and these hit at an angle?
Mm-hmm.
So, if she was to leave Ireland, and she did, and came down to Louisiana, and she did, if she was to stay in Louisiana and stay in the sun, she would not change, but her skin would get slightly darker. She will be embodying more pigments and vitamin D. So if she was to get with me and have a son which is olive skin, which my people came from just below the equator, not directly the equator. So if we had a son and we stayed in the sun, he would be a little bit darker than if he had a son, etc., 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 and they stayed in a high heat, high sunlight area. His body, his son, will adapt over the course of 1,000 years. So there you have it. We are a product of our ancestral homeland. It says in the Bible that all his sheep are scattered among the whole world. We are misplaced. See, we're misplaced. We're all over the place. The beans are on the cornfield. The strawberries are on the grapevine. The bananas are next to the taters. That's it. My Moses staff I made.